Hello everyone, it's Asatta Games. In this video, I will show you how you can create a main menu with Sprite. This is the first Sprite tutorial on the channel. I am starting with a main menu, so in the future when I share tutorials on other games, we can use this project as a base and build the game on it, as all games needs a main menu. This will be a three-part tutorial. In the first part, we will create the layout. We will have a custom library. I will show you how you can create these layers. On the second part, we will do the coding. So when we click on play, we will actually start playing the game. We will code settings, exit, etc. And on the third part, we will implement an in-game UI as a pause menu. So when we pause the menu, we will be able to change settings, return the game, or return menu. Now, to get started, open the Sprite launcher. After you download the Sprite from the website, you will see this launcher. Here you can download some of the versions. I am using the 4.3, the latest version. If you want to create a new project, click start on it. You won't have any recent projects, so go to general, select new game, name it main menu, set the location and select. This will be for Windows and I haven't selected any asset packs. If you select them, these gives you some pre-made assets for particles, materials, etc. and they are useful, but we don't need it for this tutorial, so I will continue. This will be closed once the session is started. When you first start the project, this will be what you see. I will hide the references. I don't need it that much. If you still need it, you can see it here. There are a few things we need to do. Let's first create a folder under the assets. Let's name it UI. Let's go to main menu on the game settings, rendering. I will change the screen size 1920 to 1080. Now on the UI folder, I will need to add some assets. Open your assets folder on the file explorer. Since the UI folder is empty, you won't see the folder because Sprite doesn't allow empty folders. We will put some things in it in a bit. So I will go to my tutorial project and on it I have some PNG. Let's go back and on the main menu and assets I will save it here. Now if you go back and click on assets, you will not see the PNG file because Stride uses its own file types. You will need to import it somehow. Now click add assets, select sprite, and since we will use this for UI, select UI sprites, and on the Stride projects I will find my asset and select this. Now double click and it will open the sprite sheet. You can press Ctrl and scroll up and down to zoom in and out. When creating a UI, you can use custom libraries, and we will create some custom buttons that uses these blocks, these sprites as their background, so we will need them. Let's start with naming some of them, and I will name this one maybe blue panel. I will zoom out and use the red lines to define where the blue panel is. these sprites are touching each other. If that wasn't the case, you will have this magic wand that selects the sprite. I will show that in a bit. And now we have a blue panel here. Before creating more sprites, I want to create a UI library. Let's name this one custom library. This is our library. Let's open it, and we will have nothing at first. I want to start with creating a custom button, and I will name this large button. You can have better names, but I like using large, small, medium. Now we have a button here. We will also create a UI page. This is the UI element we have. Let's call it main menu and open it. Now this may be too much information at first, but I will explain the relation. When you create a UI page, there is the standard library where you can select stuff and drag and drop them. If you created a custom library, now you will see them under user libraries. So if I add the large button here, then it will work as a prefab. Let's say on my large button I will change something. Let's set the opacity to maybe 0.5 or 0.33. If I go to main menu, you will see that this large button's opacity also has changed. So we will create some prefabs for buttons and use them on the main menu, and we will use these sprites on these prefabs. Let's delete this large button and first go back to our sprite sheet. I will first define all the sprites. Let's Ctrl D, and I will simply move this to the left to select the gray panel. Name it gray panel. The names isn't that important. What is important is these numbers, the order you have, because when you are using the buttons, the default frame corresponds to this number it has on the left, the order. That's how it selects. Now I have this blue and gray. I will also add these two for sliders. So I have selected the magic wand, clicked on this, and it selected all connected sprites in a rectangle. I will go back to, I will disable the magic wand and move this. So, but I was doing this all on the gray panel. Okay, gray panel is correct. I am duplicating. You don't have to duplicate. You can simply create a new sprite, but then you will need to copy this and paste on the source. Name it slider background. Zoom in, select the magic wand and select it with M. Duplicate, move this to the left, just slider. Let's duplicate again, just background, magic wand, disable, move. I can speed up the video here, as this is more of a repetitive work. I think this will be enough for a better UI. You can create as many sprites as you like and use them. So on the custom library, I have my large button. Under the button, we have a text block. Now, what we could do is setting the opacity to zero point 0.9 so it will blend in with the background better. Let's set the text size to 72 maybe. I will give it some outline, maybe 4 or 6. Set the text alignment to center if you like. Looks good. Maybe we can change the default text to button. Now on the large button, I need to select the sprite sheet, select the UI and set the UI sprite sheet. I want my button to have a blue panel as background. It is 0 and you know what? Let's add another and let's add this yellow background. So the buttons will be blue. When hovering on them, they will be gray, and if we click on them, they will be orange. If you add new things and move them up, this will change the order of the other sprites. If you create a new sprite, just let it stay at the back, so the previous order will not change, or just set the order at first and do not add new things later. Let's go to our button. We have blue at 0 and we have this not pressed. When not pressed, I want it to be blue. You will not see this because currently the button is selected, so it is considered as our mouse is on the button because we cannot exit the button, as this is the limit of the screen and the mouse is only important when it is on the screen. We have the gray at 1, so when mouse is over, let's make it gray, and when pressed it will be 2. It is correct. If I press it, you will see that I am actually pressing it, but it is blurry, and to avoid this we will need to add Nine-Rect. To do that, let's go to the blue panel and select these resize sprite borders. Once it is selected, move the borders as you like, and the area outside will be treated as Nine-Rect. This seems correct. Let's do the same with gray. It is still selected, so I will add the Nine-Rect here too. Lastly, the orange panel. I guess it wasn't the orange panel just now, but it still works the same. Now if I click on the button, you will see that it is working properly. And this works as a large button. You cannot duplicate them, but if you right click and copy and paste them, you will have the same thing. Let's change this to maybe medium button. Here what I will change is the size of the text. I will set this to maybe 48 and outline is 4. The rest can stay as the same. Also you can change the layout of the button here. They cover the whole screen as I have selected stretch, but if you select center for horizontal and vertical, they will stay small, but I like it when they are stretched, so we can set the size as we like on our UI page. There is this padding. which moves the items under it around. Now let's paste another button, and this will be the small button. On the small button, let's change the text size to maybe 36, outline to 2. The rest can stay same, we can still click it. Now I will also add some text blocks. On the text block, let's type text. This is what we see right now. I will name this again large text, but you can go with maybe title, subtitle, and some other names. Let's start with 72, maybe 96. Again, 6 as outline. You can change the color, outline color as you like. 0.95 for the opacity. I will set the text alignment to center, and now I don't see the option to set the text on the middle, but we can always use this center for the vertical alignment if needed. I will let it stay as it is. Copy and paste. This will be some maybe medium text. We can change the text size to 64, outline to 4, and this may be enough for now. On the main menu UI page, you will have a grid. I will use both standard and user libraries. You don't have to create any user library. The standard library covers all you need, but this helps with customization of the UI. So let's start with the grid. Now we have some canvas, grid, stack panel, and uniform grid. You can use either of them, but I only use uniform grid. The root can stay as grid. For now, let's add a image element. For the source, select the sprite group, and on the UI folder, select the sprite sheet. We have a background at the 5, so let's go to default and let's set the default frame to 5. Now it is set, but it is blurry and it doesn't cover the whole screen. Let's go to the stretch type. It is uniform, so if you have a square, it will stay as a square and will not be stretched into a rectangle. I will select fill on stretch. Oops, let's go back to fill on stretch. Now we will need to add the Nine-Rect to the background too. It was here. It is selected, the Nine-Rect tool, so let's go and edit. You don't have to be very precise with it. It will still work. Now on the main menu, it covers the whole screen and it is not blurry at all. This is our background. You can name it if you like. Now on the grid, I will add a uniform grid. Uniform grid is the panel that is easiest to work with, and it can be used to control the placement of the UI elements on the screen. It basically divides the screen into rows and columns, and you can state in what row and column an asset is placed and how much of a row it covers. For my scene, I will first go to my rows and columns. For the rows it is 6, and for the columns I will set it to 5. Now let's copy this background and edit to uniform grid. As you can see, this covers 1/5 of the width and 1/6 of the height. If I click on the background image, go to uniform grid row, this is its placement on the row. If I set this to 3, now it is on the 0, 1, 2 and 3, so it is on the third row. If I set the column to 2, 0, 1 and 2, so you can use this and it doesn't have to cover only one grid. So if I set this to 2 on the row, it will cover 2 rows. This basically gets the screen size and makes it possible to have a responsive UI. So I will add another uniform grid under it. As you remember, we have 6 rows. I want this to cover 4 of the 6 rows. This will be 1 and I will cover 4 of it. So I will have some margins around it. And it will start from the first column and it will cover third of it. This looks good. You can always change it. Let's maybe increase this to 7 and this to 6. On it we will simply need to increase this, and now we are working only with this internal part. This will be our main layer. Let's press F2 and name it main layer. You can also right click and rename. On our main layer I will only have rows. I want to have one row for the title, some space for another row, 3 buttons, play, settings and exit, and that's all. So 3, 4 and 5 rows needed. Let's set the rows to 5. On the main layer you can get a text, and for this I will get my large text. You can have the title of the game here. Let's go with the awesome game. Now I will add another uniform grid. Let's select this. The text is on the row 0. Row 1 will be empty, so let's put this on the row 2, uniform grid row 2, and it will span for 3 rows. I didn't simply create the buttons in the row, so we will have more control over them. Let's go to the rows and add 3 rows. Now we can use our large buttons, and it is here. I will duplicate them. Let's set the grid row to 1 here, and we can change the text. This will be play button, settings button and exit button. Now they are too wide, so I will add some columns to it, and I will add 4 columns. Select all buttons. They will all start from the first column, so one will be empty and their span will be 2 on the column. So yeah, like this. This is for the first layer, but let's name the button. This will be play button. The name is important as we will access the buttons using their name. So settings button and the exit button. Great, the main layer is done. I will simply duplicate it, rename the new layer to settings layer. So when we click on the settings button, we will open the new layer. Now I will first go to my settings layer. On the visibility you can select hidden, and you will see that we still see the main layer, so let's hide it. Go to settings layer and set it to visible. We have a large text here, it is too much, so I will add a medium text. I will move it up, but it isn't necessary. Change the text to settings. If you like, you can select the vertical alignment to center, so it will look better. We have a play button. Let's change those. This will be audio settings, screen settings, and return menu. They are overflowing, so let's go to the uniform grid. What I will do is increasing the columns to 6, and after selecting the buttons I will increase this to 4, and they will fit. You will get used to using these rows and columns as you practice more with the buttons. You may not like how these buttons are too close to each other, so you can simply increase the row gap or column gap. Now I have rows here, so if I set this to 10, they will be separated properly. And this is for the settings, but let's not forget changing the name of the buttons. So audio settings button, screen settings button, and return menu button. Let's hide the settings layer too. Duplicate the settings layer, make it visible, change this to screen settings layer. On the text, let's add screen settings. We will be able to toggle on and off full screen and VSync, vertical synchronization, and we will also be able to change the field of view on the camera. And lastly, we will have a return settings layer button. Now to do this, we will need to increase the rows amount to 6, and we will add new button, which is maybe a small button. The small button we will name return settings button. Since we have 6 rows now, we will set the row to 5 on the new button. It looks bad, so I will change the layout a bit. What I will do is simply have 1 row for the text, 3 row for the buttons, and 1 row for the return, so it will be 5. On the layer, let's have 5 rows. This will start from the row 1, and this will be on the 4th row. Yeah, and I will simply increase the row gap so they will be separated. You can increase it as you like. 25 is good. On the uniform grid, I will decrease the row gap to maybe 6, and yeah, looks better. We are on the screen settings, the text is correct. On the button, I will select the horizontal stretch to center. I will select the text on it and it will be return settings. Looks good. Now we will need to change the buttons a little bit. We have 3 buttons, but they are simple buttons. I don't want buttons, I want toggle buttons. And I guess we can create toggle buttons here on the custom library. Let's find a toggle button. Yeah, edit, and this is our toggle button. I will name it medium toggle button. I will have only one toggle button because it will be enough. I already have the mini layout in my head, but for a larger project you may need to create a bunch of variation for different types. Text size for 42 would be enough. To for outline, 0.9 is good for buttons. And let's copy this, paste. For the checked, when checked it will be blue, so 0. When unchecked it will be 1, and I will select the indeterminate state to 2. Now if I click on it, it switches between blue and gray. This is enough. Go to main menu. On the uniform grid, let's get the medium toggle button. Our uniform grid has 6 columns, let's make it 7. The medium toggle button will have a span of 5, but on the column it starts from the column 1. It is centered. Let's name this one not medium toggle button but full screen toggle button. Duplicate with Ctrl D, but it will be on the row 1. Let's first change these values. I will simply add full screen on at first, and for the other button we sync on. Let's change the name here to vsync. Now here I want to add a text to the left that says FOV, field of view, and on the right there will be a slider for it. So let's add another uniform grid here. It will be on the row 2, on the column 1, span of 5, so looks good. It will have 2 columns. Let's add a medium text here, maybe too big. Let's add a small text. We don't have a small text, so let's go with the medium text. It is on the left. Let's change the text to FOV. I want it to have a alignment of left. Now we will need to add a new slider. We will create a slider here at first, and this will be our slider. Let's change the background and foreground for the slider. Now on the sprite sheet we have a slider and slider background. They don't have Nine-Rect, so let's add it. So slider background is 3 and slider is 4. The background is 4, and the foreground is 3, or maybe 4 here and 3 for the background. And yeah, it looks good. I want the slider to be wider, so I will set a minimum height of 50, maybe too much, 30, yeah. Let's go to our main menu and see how it looks. We didn't name it. Let's name this to slider. And on the uniform grid I have added the slider. It will be on the column 1. And yeah, it doesn't look bad. This is a bit too large, so let's see if we can get it to be smaller. Select the slider. If I set the size to 10, now looks better. So I think it's good. This is the button. I will need this as FOV slider, and this is for the screen settings layer. Now I will hide this, duplicate, set it to visible, and lastly we will have the audio settings layer. Change this to audio settings. Return settings button can stay. We will need to change this a little bit. We will have 3 different sound blocks. The first block will have the original sound, which is the default value for all sounds. The second will affect the music we will play, and the third one will affect the sound SFX we are going to use for gunshots and other things. Now I will delete all, and on the uniform grid let's add another uniform grid. Let's make it have a span of 5, but again on the column start from 1. It will have 2 rows on it and 2 columns. We are basically dividing the grid into 4. Now on the upper part we will have a toggle button, so let's find our toggle button, the medium one. Yeah, let's select the toggle button. It will have a span of 2, and for the name we can use sound on. Now let's add a small text. We will need a small text, so let's go copy the medium text and paste it. Name it small text. It will have a text size of 36, 2 for the outline. That's it. Go back, select the small text and add it to the uniform grid. It will start from the row 1, and here we can change the text to sound. We will also need to add a slider here, so let's add it. The slider will start from the row 1, column 1, and it is on the correct place. Let's move this, and looks good. I will first name the buttons, so this will be sound toggle button. No need to have a reference to the text, but we will need this sound slider. Looks Good. And this is a block we will use, so duplicate it. This will be on the row 1. Again duplicate it, and this will be on row 2. This is the sound toggle button. Change the value to music. Change this to music 2. Yeah, and here we have SFX. We need the text under the toggle button. And that's it for the audio settings. Make sure you use the correct name for them. So this is not the sound slider but music slider, and not sound toggle button but music toggle button. Same for the SFX. I need to change the name of the text. For the sound effects, we have the same name on 2 buttons, both screen settings layer and the audio settings layer have this return settings button. You can have the same name on buttons, it is no problem, and it will actually be useful when we are coding the functionality into this layer. And that's it, I think, for the layers. Let's create a new scene. It will be the main menu scene. Let's change the name to main menu scene. Open it. It is an empty scene, so create an empty entity. Main menu, no need to change the name. And drag and drop your main menu onto the entity, so you will have it on your scene. Now to make this scene is the start scene when you run the game. If you want to see this game, go to your game settings and select the default scene as the main menu scene. So if you start your game right now, you will see this main menu scene. It says there is no camera, so let's add a camera. It will be an orthographic camera because the layer is 2D. And for the slot, select this main. It is detected automatically. Let's try again. And yeah, we can see the audio settings layer. We can toggle on and off, but it has no functionality. Right now with this tutorial, we have this audio settings layer, the screen settings layer, and the main layer. Lastly, I will change the background color a bit. It looks good. And that's it. That's how you can create a main menu layout for your Stride game. I will share this project on my itch.io page so you can download it from there. On the next part, we will add the functionality to this main menu. So when we click on buttons, they will actually do something. Play will take us to the main scene and so on. If you have any question or recommendation, let me know on the comment section. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.